my skin so gorgeous. We thank the life gorgeous. Thank the life gorgeous. I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight.
Welcome to Life Gorgeous. My name is Mr. Craig Kilborn. I answer to Kilby, Lord Kilby, Craigers, Young Craigers, Special K. This is where I share my magical life in hopes of improving your life. Hope you had a wonderful 4th of July. Princess Cherry and I were up in the super van in the Santa Barbara area. Wining and dining, hiking, refreshed. So much to talk about. A lot of questions, and I'm going to start off with the Timberwolves, and then I'm going to answer a few other questions. Before I get to that, because I have strong opinions about the Wolves and their point guard situation. Quick announcement. I love helping the young people. There's a writer from Boston named Rich Levine and his partner, and they had this cool story about the Bill James of basketball, statistician extraordinaire. His name is Martin Manley, and he's an interesting character. He wrote a book called Basketball Heaven. He's quirky, Martin Manley, quirky. Wore a fedora at the end of his life. He's from Kansas. He liked drinking Coca-Cola, listening to James Taylor. Very interesting guy. Analytics extraordinaire. And this guy, Rich Levine, and his partner are doing a 6-part podcast series about this guy, Martin Manley. It's on ESPN. It's with Adam McKay's production company. And Craigers is participating because I love giving back, and I get to play the voice. I get to play the character and be the voice of Martin Manley. And it comes out this week. 6-part series starting on the 10th, this Thursday. And I'm honored to help out. Slight Southern twang, Kansas twang. It's very subtle. Doesn't always show up in the sentences. I was born in Kansas City. My cousins, I could hear it when I visited them. A little bit of a twang, not always there on every sentence. So I'll be doing some other podcasts talking about it, and I'm going to have Rich Levine and his partner on probably next week. We're going to talk about Martin Manley, this interesting basketball statistician. Analytics. More on that later. Right now, let us talk about the Timberwolves. As of this recording, there has been no trade or signing of a free agent point guard. And as many of you know, I loathe turnovers. We have Mike Conley, who is a consistent player but older. He's going to be 38 next year. We have Rob Dillingham, the point guard who didn't get to play much. And he will turn it over. He's a risk taker. He's explosive. I like him, but I don't know if he's going to be that steady, reliable point guard that we want. Some people say, hey, we've got a point forward in Julius Randle. Ant handles the ball. I'm going to make a beautiful point right now, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if anyone else will make it about our Timberwolves. We can play with the roster we have right now. We don't necessarily have to add a point guard, a veteran point guard, or a young, steady, consistent, conservative point guard who doesn't turn it over like a Tyus Jones who went elsewhere. We don't necessarily need one, except when we play OKC. They expose us and others. They really pressure the perimeter and pressure the ball. We beat the Lakers and the Warriors. Lost to OKC. A lot of turnovers. So if someone says we're not going to add a point guard, if Tim Connelly says we're going to go with the roster here, a lot of pressure on Rob Dillingham. Dante DiVincenzo, he'll turn it over. So he's not a true point guard. He's a risk taker. Ant will handle the ball a lot in the half-court offense. So I would prefer, if we traded and got somebody, I would love De'Aaron Fox. That would, or Darius Garland. But, and maybe they're trying. But I just wanted to make the point that we can play with this roster. If we got to the finals next year, I don't think the Knicks or the Pacers or whoever's coming out of the East, I don't think they're going to pressure the ball as much as OKC. So that's the one matchup where we definitely would help if we had another point guard, my opinion. Timberwolves pride. A lot of people, I'm kind of doing categories here because I get bombarded with questions. You can DM me on Instagram, my iconic Instagram. That's where I get a lot of my questions. And people like when I talk about what I'm watching as far as non-basketball events, movies, television shows. So I've talked about rewatching. I do rewatch movies. I space it out. The Bourne series, Mission Impossible, 3 Days of the Condor, one of my favorites. Here's a movie I don't know if you guys have heard of called The Day of the Jackal. I believe it was from the 70s, not the late 60s, 70s. Edward Fox. And I really like that movie. And I've seen it twice. And they have a show about it. And I watched the first season, Day of the Jackal, with Eddie Redmayne. He's a hired assassin. And I just rewatched season 1 again in anticipation of season 2, which comes out. I want to say it drops in September. I could be wrong. I do enjoy it. It's a little rough because he has to, even when people are helping him, when he's on the run, if he gets a ride from somebody, oftentimes he'll have to kill that guy to keep his identity hidden. So it becomes a little cold-blooded. But I do enjoy it. It's stylish. And it's called The Day of the Jackal. And I can't remember if it's on Peacock or what it's on. Anyways, now I'm going to tell you one I'm rewatching, and it's the third time. I really recommend this one. It's called The Offer, with Miles Teller as Al Ruddy, the producer of The Godfather. It is the making of The Godfather. It's on Paramount, and it's a 10-part series. And Matthew Good, the British actor, nails Robert Evans. Plays Robert Evans. I knew Robert Evans, the producer from Paramount. He did Love Story, Chinatown, The Godfather. And it's a highly entertaining 10-part series. It's even comedic, the way that some of the lines that they say. And it's dynamic with the soundtrack where they'll transition to another scene and all of a sudden you'll hear Whiter Shade of Pale, boom, Rocket Man. You'll hear great songs transitioning to the scenes. It's dynamic. And I think I've told this story before, but not in a long time. So I used to hang out with Robert Evans, but the first time I met him, I didn't know him. There was a restaurant on Sunset called Il Soleil. Very good restaurant. And I had my back to the door, which I normally don't do, but I was sitting and my beautiful girlfriend at the time said, freak alert, 12 noon, which would have been directly behind me or something like that, the way she was looking. front door behind me, and it was Robert Evans and Jean-Claude Van Damme walking in. That was her freak alert. They sat down, and they actually sat down next to us, and Robert Evans said hi, and I'd never met him. I just was doing the CBS Late Late Show. And my girlfriend at the time excused herself to go to the powder room, and I said to Jean-Claude Van Damme, I said, when she comes back, I want you to do a little joke. Just say, whisper, hey, I think we've met. Remember at the Four Seasons, one afternoon we hung out in my room at the Four Seasons, like they had a tryst or something. So she sits down, and Jean-Claude Van Damme goes, do you remember meeting me at the Four Seasons? You were up in my room. And she immediately, my girlfriend goes, Craig, because she knew that I was doing a practical joke. Now, I like to say it didn't work because Van Damme can't act, but I'm not going to say that. But it was a fun story. These are the kind of fun moments that are sprinkled throughout my life. And after that, I had Robert Evans on the show. I used to hang out with him at his house. I was in his screening room. We watched The Kid Stays in the Picture. Nice. He was a nice guy. We went out for dinner a few times. I highly recommend The Offer, The Making of the Godfather. And what happens is after you watch it, then you immediately say, I have to watch The Godfather. So I have, in fact, in the last week, rewatched the Godfather movie, Godfather 2, and a little bonus for you young people. On YouTube, there's a director's commentary of The Godfather. Francis Ford Coppola comments on the making of The Godfather as you go through the different scenes. It's on YouTube. It's great. It's nice to hear the different decisions he had to make, some of the problems they had, etc. So I highly recommend The Offer. I recommend The Day of the Jackal. Many of you know I love Bosch series. There's going to be a new series with Maggie Q called Ballard that comes out July 9th, I want to say. I like Bosch, and I'll like Ballard because they shoot it in LA. They use a lot of the restaurants that we all go to. So those are some of the things I've been rewatching. I'm also forgetting some movies that I've been watching, but I can't remember everything. The summertime is a wonderful time. Wearing linen, red wine. Maybe I'm wearing canvas sneakers with my khakis. I really am pushing now. When I have a martini for a Nick and Nora, it's only 3 ounces of vodka, as opposed to those big ass martini glasses. I just feel better, quicker, in case I have to get in a pickup game afterwards, or the next day I got to go to the rim. Left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. Ambidextrous. Move the ball, back cuts. Actually, I haven't played in a long time. I don't know if I'm going to play again, but I feel quicker with a Nick and Nora. Doesn't weigh me down too much. Those are the small martini glasses, made famous by Nick and Nora Charles from the Thin Man series in the 1930s. So quickly, I do get a lot of questions about food. I'm slender. And they want to know, hey, Kilby, what do you eat at home? What do you eat at home? We know you go out. We know you like French food. What do you eat at home? Thanks for asking. I space out my eggs. I don't eat until 11 a.m. If I have eggs, it'll be maybe once a week, but I will have egg whites, feta cheese, egg white omelet, chopped up, some onions in there. Maybe I have some arugula to throw in there. Black olives sliced up. But here's what I kind of consistently have if I'm not making the egg whites. Very simple. Non-fat yogurt. There's a brand that makes it lactose free. Not that I just do it for the hell of it. I can have lactose. It's not a big deal. Plain yogurt, obviously no sugar, unsweetened, plain yogurt, non-fat 2%, 5%. Fresh blueberries, walnuts, peanut butter or almond butter on top. all the time. Have it all the time. That's for my breakfast slash lunch. For dinner, many of you know I cook salmon. I do try to buy wild caught salmon. And it's real simple. Stovetop. I rarely will bake it in the oven. And then in another pan, olive oil, maybe butter. Don't need it. White wine, capers, garlic, onions chopped up. Pour that on top. Sometimes I get artichoke hearts in there, a jar of artichoke hearts, and a lot of salmon. And then I make chicken thighs. I love chicken thighs. Quinoa. Occasionally I'll buy the lettuce, have a nice salad, put the salmon on top of a salad, vinaigrette, feta cheese. It's good for you as far as cheeses. I eat pretty healthy. One of my snacks at home, I used to buy it at the store. I used to buy white cheddar popcorn, but they don't use olive oil. So I make popcorn at home with olive oil. Rarely will I put Parmesan cheese on it. I'll just put amino acids instead of salts, maybe a little garlic powder. And I actually pour olive oil on top of the popcorn after I've cooked it in olive oil. Captain Healthy. Worked hard on my hair today for the young people. Good summary now. Wolves, I'd like to get a veteran point guard. I'd like to. The Offer, recommend it. Paramount Plus, The Offer, 10-part series, the making of The Godfather. Very entertaining, stress-filled. And Captain Healthy at home. Yogurt, egg whites, salmon. Very efficient. Drink in moderation. I've been mentioning that a lot. Maybe I'm telling myself that. Who knows? That's our show. We're going to talk more of the project, the ESPN project I'm working on. I'm going to be on the Rich Eisen show soon, probably Rosillo. Very exciting. Good summer. Good start to the summer. That's our show. I'll see you next week. And remember, young people, I'm proud of you.